Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are across the planet. Welcome to the Cosmic Lounge podcast. This evening, we're going to be talking about AI and how we can manage ourselves in connection and in relation to AI. And we've got a beautiful, lovely guest, Pauline Barnfather, who's going to be joining us. Pauline, just a little bit about Pauline. Pauline's beautiful soul. She leads daily meditations on Menorca Consciousness Group. She also leads development groups. She's a medium and trance medium. She also does I Create Calm. So she's doing lots of things. And we got talking the other day about AI, etc. And we thought, okay, this would be a good idea just to have a chat about it. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite Pauline into the space.
Hi,
Hello.
Colin. Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yes. So we've got an interesting conversation coming up then. AI.
I hope so. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we've got Rish. Hi, Rish. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to say hello to Rish, Pauline?
Hi, Rish.
Go on, sorry. We like to say hello to everybody else coming because I like to kind of make it a little bit interactive rather than
Yeah, definitely. Not just
just
listening to us two droning on.
correct that one. So it's like, and as we go on, more people will join us. So I Create Calm. What's that all about?
Well, I started it because I actually do craft as well as my day job.
Yeah.
I teach art in the community with um, the elderly and those that may be vulnerable or socially isolated. And that was called I Create Craft. So when I got back on my spiritual journey and started doing the meditations and getting into my mediumship, I kind of just added it to the portfolio as I Create Calm because it is what I do, I hope. I offer people that little bit of peace and the space to come and find that calm.
A
So,
little bit of peace. I think
yeah.
it's more than a little bit of peace. You've been doing the Menorca Consciousness Group meditation. What did we say? 18 months now, every weekday, 5 till 5:30, Monday to Friday.
Yeah, I know when I said I started those, I don't even know, I can't remember that conversation, Colin, how they actually started. And I just remembered saying, I will keep it going as long as somebody shows up in the space with me. And every day I am astounded that people turn up. So I just said, I will keep it going until I start the Zoom call and there's nobody in the room. So yeah, Monday to Friday, every day, and it's just a little space of calm and love, really, which is where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I can't believe I got locked out one night. Couldn't even get in it.
I still don't believe that.
I can't refuse that one.
Oh,
There you go,
thank
Chris.
you, Christina. Thank you. That's so lovely.
Do you want to say hello to everybody, Pauline?
Yeah, hi, Christina. Nice to see you. And Lynn, good morning. Nice to see you too. And Patrick, welcome.
Patrick, lovely to see you, Patrick. Thanks for joining us again. We're going to be bringing Patrick on at some point. I've got to get in touch with him. He's accepted the invitation. Lynn, good morning. Where you are in Canada? Early morning. I should imagine. I don't know what time. What time is it over there at the minute, Lynn? Anyway, and Christina, lovely to see you all. Thank you all for joining us. So that's the meditations. And of course, it's funny, isn't it? I'll do them until, and 18 months later, you're still rolling with them.
I know because people still keep turning up. And then I have to admit, obviously, I joined this group
Yeah.
um, quite a while ago, really. It's over 2 years now. And from joining the Menorca Consciousness Group, I have just gone on a level, just kept going and going. I've done quite a few of the courses with you and Ava, and yeah, I just keep going with everything, and it's
Brilliant.
my journey is just expanding every single day. So I've been doing, obviously, never thought I'd be on a mediumship
Yeah.
platform doing that, and also doing the trance with you as well. And yeah, it's just been amazing. Really
I love it.
a journey of pure enlightenment.
It's a absolutely. I mean, words fail us sometimes, don't they? It's more than an absolute pleasure to have you with us and be a part of the whole setup. I don't want to call it a community, but the whole setup of MCG and Ethereal Virtual Centre and everything what's going on, the weekly events throughout the day, the courses on the evenings, the circles. But I wanted to touch on something, Pauline, for just because there'll be obviously people what won't know what just recently took place. You just got invited to do a demonstration in person.
I
And what
did,
was it? 90 people turned up?
yeah. It was my first one doing mediumship on my own, so it was quite nerve-wracking. And yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we have talked about that in terms of it's all in the preparation,
Yeah.
and totally coming from where you are, and when you're in your best place, you can really give your all to those kind of events. And yeah,
Yeah.
and that week I had just been, as I said before, topping up the tanks and preparing myself for it. And so I was 100% ready when the lights went up, and I just went for it.
Absolutely. I was laughing when you told me about it first off, especially the amount of people what was there. Because previously, if you got invited to do a demonstration in a spiritualist church, you'd probably go for an awareness group or development group, and then some of the members of the committee or the circle leader be watching and keeping the eye on different people, and then probably invite them up onto the demonstration, just kind of helping everybody along the path. And normally the first demonstration for a lot of people under them circumstances, the turnout can be between 15 to 25 people, so, and that's nerve-wracking enough for a lot of people. So for you to stand up there in front of 90 people as your first one, I just think it was incredible. That was seriously impressive that you kind of went for it, got up there, managed it, etc. I absolutely loved it when you told me. Sue, hi Sue, thanks for joining us. And then so
Good evening, Sue.
we've got the meditations, the healing aspect coming in, and the development group which you take every Monday on Ethereal, well through MCG, but on Ethereal Virtual Centre.
Yeah, with
Which is
Trish.
also popular, yeah. With Trish O'Hara, who happens to be doing the World Peace Meditation tomorrow at 4:00. Brilliant stuff. In fact, I may as well throw these bits in. Tomorrow is quite a nice day because at 2:00 we have a crystal course with Melissa Callahan. How long she's going to be running it, I don't know, but tomorrow it starts 2 p.m. UK time. Francis Beck is going to be helping her. Francis will be doing a crystal grid as far as I understand as well, so that's nice. And then Trish is doing 4:00. Trish is doing the World Peace Meditation, and then we've got the Circle of Spirit, like the Open Circle tomorrow, and there may even be a meditation after that. So often now we're getting like four sessions on a Sunday. Like I ain't got a clue how that's worked out.
So good though. It's really lovely to have so many things to go to, and especially there's during the week as well. There's always something on every day, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and Sue Townsend leading the Open Circle and healing and inspiration writing with Ria and Christina. So it's like across that broad spectrum. Annie Claire, it's amazing. Anyway, I wanted to go somewhere else now because I wanted then to step in from your route and now at the point of trance.
Yes.
Tell us about that trance, Pauline.
Well, it's interesting because with your mediumship and when you make that initial connection with spirit, and then I started with the channeling because you were running some channeling sessions last year. Once a week there was a channeling session that was open to everybody.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. And I think the very first sessions I did with you was your in the purple. And
Into the
I think
purple.
that, yeah, into the purple. And that was just a whole awakening and connection in terms of my mediumship journey. And that kind of pushed me to join a spiritualist church locally to me. So just going to the open circles.
Yeah.
And then the channeling sort of came from that. And that to me felt like the next level where spirits step a little bit closer. And then it kind of evolved then into the trance.
Yeah.
And I do feel that with trance, that's where you completely surrender. Just let yourself, you're handing yourself over to spirit completely.
Yeah.
And you're a vessel for them to communicate. And the more that you can just let that control release, which is obviously the most difficult thing, getting out of your own head, but just letting go of that control and completely surrendering and just let them come in.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've been doing that with you for the last year, I would say, probably doing the trance. And yeah, it's amazing just being in that space. So,
Absolutely beautiful. Oh, Pauline, thank you so much. I love it. I just think it's kind of nice to share these aspects and that journey in it. It's like one follows the other, follows the other.
it is, it's like a natural kind of evolving, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Whenever you start with your mediumship and then you, and not to say that when you're doing your mediumship now, especially having experienced trance,
Mm.
that you can obviously let spirit step really close. But there is obviously a difference as you progress along each of those steps
Yeah.
and moving, into that trance.
You can see where the piece together. Okay, it's like
Totally.
it's kind of it's. I don't know. There's a clear path in a way. When you start off, let's say, from the psychic aspect, you move into the mediumship, and there's a deepening and an expanding and a greater opening as you go then from your psychic to mediumship. You start moving. Healing is always in there along that path, if you like, and then almost natural state from mediumship is entering into the altered states, looking at the altered states, understanding them. Then the channeling starts kicking in. And then you go, okay. And then each one is like a deepening of the previous one. And at the
Yes,
same time, we're opening up further into it all. And then we then step in or slip into the trance state and the deepening of that. And you can see the interconnectedness very
totally.
clearly from start, you know,
And
what I'm,
obviously we have that.
yeah,
So I was just going to say about we have that beautiful trance clinic now, which is really great for us as, having done the trance courses and then moving into that trance healing
yeah.
space and letting spirit just, take over and bring through that beautiful energy for people. That's a beautiful space that Melissa's heading up for, for the MCG.
Yeah, it certainly is. It sure is. I think you're all amazing, all of you. It's like when we had the original plans for the Ethereal Virtual Centre, the organising logistics of it at the very beginning, and it kept getting delayed and delayed, and then all of a sudden it just boom, let's just get on with it. And to see it now is incredible. With all the events and all you guys running them, managing them, operating them, and just supporting everybody what's coming in and out of them is amazing. Even we can't even leave out the moon community with Annie Claire. It's like all these different pockets of I don't even want to say development. It is development, but sharing the information. So amazing stuff. Just quickly going to say hello to Francis and Ruth and Trish.
Good evening.
Lovely to have you with us. Thank you so much. So let's get on to the topic then. Hi, Trish. Hi, Francis. Let's get on to the topic then, which is
AI.
AI. And we'll put the disclaimer out straight away. Neither of us are experts on this
Thank
topic.
you.
These are simply looking at it and talking about it on a human level, which I think because we used to and I think this is important, we're used to listening to academics and scientists telling us all about AI. But then you've got your general masses with their own thoughts on this. They're the ones operating it more than anybody else and using it. So I think your everyday person and their mind and their opinion and comments and views are as equally valid as any scientist or any academic, because normally they sway one way or the other, for or against. Whereas your average person, we're kind of trying to unravel this and how it's playing a role in our lives.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to have this conversation. It's like, I'm not academic. Perfect. Let's go for it then. You know, for me, it'd be nice to have an academic or a scientist. They'd lose me straight away and they'll start talking all sorts of stuff. And it's like, no, I don't want that. I want us to discuss it. So that's where I've come from on this one. So just quickly, so I've got some questions. Anyway, you know what I'm like. So if you want to give us your initial thoughts on it first, Pauline.
Okay. So obviously, AI isn't a new thing. It has been around for many, many years, since the 50s. So I think there's this concept that we have this belief that it's a new technology that's coming in, and it truly isn't. And AI has been in our lives for many years. Even just the Google search that we used before we had the ChatGPT. And so the Google search engines, when your Amazon account gives you recommendations of what you should buy next, these are all where AI is being utilized. And it is being utilized in the medical field and business as well, in many, many places. So to put it out there, it isn't a new thing, a newfangled thing that has only just arrived this year or last year. It has been around for many, many years. And I think that with the launch of ChatGPT, and also with a lot of platforms now offering programs where we can create training modules and have avatars and things like this, it has become a lot more mainstream, I would say. So there's a lot of people that are out there that are using AI platforms to create like little training videos and little spiritual classes. And there's definitely large communities that are making use of it.
Yeah.
And having, instead of them standing up in front of the camera, they will put an avatar up and have an avatar sort of speaking what they would like to say, because maybe they're camera shy and they don't want to, be in front of the camera. So it has been around for quite some time, and companies have used it, because there's a lot of training and stuff through big corporations and companies, and even the smaller companies that will use AI to do training modules so that they can send out mass, amounts of training to all of their staff all at the same time, and it's all on a level. Everybody's doing the same. So it has been around for a while. That's kind of the first thing. And the second thing, it is a tool. And I think when we sort of break it down to its most easiest
Yeah.
kind of level, it is just a tool that we are using. And like all tools, they can be used for good and they can be used maybe for not so good. And it's like all technology, really. As technology evolves and moves forward, every time something new comes out, there's a fear, oh my goodness, this is going to change everything. And, when we had the first cars,
Yeah.
there used to be a little man with a lamp that walked in front because they didn't want the car to go too fast and run anybody down. So you had a little guy with a lantern trotting along with the car driving behind. And now look where we are with the motor industry and that. So it's kind of just in its most simplest, it is a tool that we
Yeah.
can use or not, but it is in our lives already. We can't ignore that it isn't already there. And the reason why I wanted to really come and talk was because during one of my trance sessions, my guides have been coming in and given their opinions on the AI,
Yeah.
and not being too sort of slow in coming forward either. They are kind of giving an indication that it isn't the AI that is going to take us over and, you know, have an impact. It's us as human beings using the AI to do all those things for us. And we are, as humans, always wanting to take the shortest route to something.
Yeah.
And so if AI offers us that, then we will jump on it. And
Convenience.
yeah, the convenience and the efficiency of it, we may feel that it's more efficient or it's offering us some kind of efficiency on our time. And so it's more a little caution in terms of us dumbing down and us becoming lazy. And in a very simple term, I kind of had this image today. Do you know the butterfly can openers that you get, the
Yeah.
little butterfly, the really old style? So if you've been using one of those for years to open your tins, and you know they're a little bit footery and you kind of
Yeah.
get used to it, and then all of a sudden somebody buys you an electric can
Electrical one.
opener, and now you've got this amazing can opener that does everything for you, and you use that maybe for a year, and one day it breaks or you have a power cut and you have to get out that butterfly tin opener. I can assure you that you will be faffing around trying to get it to go on the tin, because that muscle memory of using it will have
Yeah.
kind of disappeared. So it's kind of thinking of it like that, that if we allow it to, we can very easily let AI become the thing that does all the things for us. And we kind of lose our critical thinking and our uniqueness that we bring to everything. I mean, I could have been an avatar here speaking, and you could have been an avatar, but would it have been the same?
No chance.
We bring something to the party when we step up as our human self.
Yeah. Totally agree.
So I do you want to step in? I feel
Yeah.
I'm on a
No,
whole
no.
thing here.
No, it's good. No, because this is why I wanted the conversation, because I think what you've said is obviously clearly relevant. I think you put it in a beautiful way. While you was talking, I was thinking, we're back to the original title here, and it just doesn't go with AI either. How we manage ourselves in relation to it. So, like you said, it's a tool,
Yes.
and driving a car, operating a piece of machinery, or it doesn't matter what we're using as a tool. It's how we basically train our mind to use it to its maximum, but at the same time, to make sure we don't use it for everything in our life, i.e., to the point where we lose our, you said critical thinking, I agree with you, our creativity.
Yeah,
That
the uniqueness of us.
that's right. Yeah.
And we trust it. We 100% trust that whatever AI
Mm.
tells us is correct. And it really isn't. It isn't accurate. It can make
Mm.
mistakes. But we blindly, whenever, if we, ask it to write something for us, it will go on the information that it has available to it at that time. And
Yeah.
that information may be correct, but that information may also be incorrect. So it is a huge bank of data,
Yeah.
and it is only as accurate as the data that it has available to it.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking because there's that many areas where it's used now, isn't there? There's
Huge.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, technologically, it's there. Creatively, it's there. Research, as Francis mentioned,
Yeah.
research is there. I mean, we've got algorithms, bots, and God knows what's playing around now. I've been watching some of this, what's taking place with Iran. and I've never seen so much information which has been created by AI. AI videos, and they're looking very realistic, and you can't get to the truth of what's going on out there from either side, from
Exactly.
any side whatsoever.
No. And I think, yeah, sorry.
And then you go, well, who's creating these? Where they're coming from? Is it your average guy just playing around and going, oh, I'm going to make a video? This scene here took place in Israel or Iran. There was a bomb gone off, and there's some language and wording underneath it, and it's clearly AI. But there's people out there what will fall for it. There's a danger to that to me,
a
because
lot of information on there. It's not even just about what's current. There is a lot of people that just make AI videos of just general stuff. Not the stuff that we would, because it's interesting. I was having a chat with my son, because when my children were younger and mobile phones were newish, we didn't let our kids, neither my son or daughter had a mobile phone, which they weren't happy about at all, because obviously the peer pressure in school was horrendous for them not having a mobile device. And my son was talking about this. He's in his 20s now. He took me out for Mother's Day, and we were having a chat about how it's become now, the whole social media and all of those different platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as well. And he was saying, Mum, do you know, whenever you banned us from having our phones, that was the time when people used to just post their dinners. That was what you would have got, a picture of somebody's meal, or they were out somewhere and they would have taken a picture of a car or something. It was that so simple back then. And even now, he would be saying to me then that it's not a nice place to be now, that in that world of social media, being a young man as well, and what is being forced to him. Oh, we've lost Colin. I've lost my host.
Can you see what's ever going on in the video? Don't you just love it?
I know.
Just on this subject.
Exactly. We get too reliant on it.
Yeah, whoops.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I'll keep talking until you come back. So it's just interesting how my son's vision of, looking back then and looking now, how much it's changed, and how he feels it's not a nice place to be anymore, with that, just the kind of content that is being funneled down to him, as well as a young man as well. So it's an interesting world, and it isn't just the news that's being manipulated. It's all content
that's
being manipulated, so you kind of think, well, it just become a point where nothing can be trusted, so we just have to say there's no information that's right anymore.
I was making the point with the Iran situation, specifically because it's current at the moment and it's one aspect, and yet exactly agree with you. Totally agree with what you're saying, because it's multifaceted, isn't it? There's so many levels at play here, and it's trying to, like you was referring to with your son and what it's like on social media in a minute, trying to navigate through it. It was bad enough with, well, I've got to be careful. It was difficult enough with human nature. But now we're dealing with AI videos and etc. Okay, and that's in the mix, and you go, okay, how am I going to find my way through all this?
Navigate.
And it takes us to a point of, and I'm not going to go on the negative, but it's here, it's relevant, because I absolutely, I love technology, and I love to see the benefit and how it benefits everybody and humanity as a whole. I absolutely love it. I've always loved technology since I was a kid. I am absolutely useless at using it. Don't ask me what happened there, but I absolutely loved, and going into the future and technological advances way beyond where we are at the moment was always going through my mind. Always. Never had a clue why. And yet, so the positive side is phenomenal for me, and I absolutely love it, and it's exciting for me. It's this aspect. Maybe we're in a transition. We're going through this period of time. I'm seeing the dangers of it on so many levels, which, and I'm not talking about fear factor. I'm just seeing the logical side of it. Melissa's mentioned something earlier.
Yeah, I
A
see
woman
that.
imprisoned in our area incorrectly for several months based on a false AI identification. I mean,
I know, but that's because it's only able to go on the data that it holds. So for face recognition as well. And in the early days of face recognition, obviously there was huge issues because it was very biased
yeah,
in terms of the types of images that were fed into the AI and what it was working with, and the amount of images in terms of being able to discern the differences between different people.
yeah,
So, and again, that goes back to the the data that it has and it's holding. It is only as good as that information that it is holding
yeah,
when it comes down to it, and that's why we can't trust it 100%. It's like any person. You
yeah,
know, whenever, if you had a specific topic, if you got somebody on tomorrow to talk about AI, you would get a whole different, perspective
yeah.
from it. So with the AI, you're only getting a perspective based on the information it holds.
Yeah, I mean, what it's done is gathered and collected all the data it possibly can get its hands on, basically across the world,
Yeah.
and it's mixing it together and churning it out regarding specific topics, and that's where I think it's, in a way, thankfully, that's where there's a limitation to it, because it's only telling us what is already in the space on the planet as far as everybody's knowledge is concerned. Okay, it can shift and change, and it can give you a different perspective on things when you're asking specific questions, which is, if that's beneficial, then fine.
Yeah.
But then it brings us back to, so at what point are we using our own mind? Because there's nothing better than us having an experience, realizing a new truth, going through a process of that experience, and really realizing a new truth within our own consciousness. That for me is priceless. It's okay jumping and go, okay, let me just ask Chat GPT this quick question. Okay, got it. That's fine in certain areas, and I believe it. I like what Francis referred to about research. It's like, how do we know it's going to give you the complete truth of what you're actually asking and seeking? Is it going to give you a scenario which it wants you to have?
Well, it'll give you a scenario based on it what information is there. It's really interesting because there is a looking forward, because obviously it has been fed all the data that exists in the world as much as it possibly can.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people now that have books and their writings who are saying we do not want our stuff on
Yeah.
the AI. We don't want AI to have access to our writings, for example. So
Yeah.
there are people now standing up and saying, actually, no, I don't want my, book or my research or, whatever data. We do not want it going on AI. And a lot of publishing houses as well have had to change their underlying legislation really to stop in terms of copyright,
Right.
so that that the books that they
Yeah.
sell don't end up on AI. So there is a lot of data that isn't now going onto the massive data banks, but also the data is running out, that it's come to a point of saturation. So it's only a small amount of data. Obviously, when you're at the start of building a database, you're going to have thousands of information from, around the world, of going back historically. But it comes to a point where actually, right, we've fed it all right up to today, for example.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So now the AI is going to start with using synthetic data. So a data set that is basically made up based on the data it already holds, and then projecting outwards from that.
Yeah.
And so you kind of think then it's sort of self-perpetuating its own ideals then, whatever it already holds, it's going to just mix that up a little bit and pull on that and then regurgitate.
Yeah.
So even as we move forward, the data then becomes less trustworthy because it's old, as it becomes older. And then if it is creating this synthetic data based on what it already has, then, where does that lead us in terms of when we're wanting to do research and find out information? And it just makes me think that even more so that we don't get too trusting in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the whole point of this, in a way, this conversation is the responsibility is on us as individuals. This is where I am with it. And of course, each individual is going to use it according to their own conscience in that moment anyway.
Yeah, of course.
My personally, I minimize it as much as I possibly can. I like it to, if it's saving time in certain areas, fine. Time consuming, creating an order for some of the information you've already got, what you would spend maybe 2-3 days or a week doing, and you can put it in and go, there you go, it's in order for you. Brilliant. That side of things, absolutely brilliant. Really interesting. I think it's all, again, it boils down back to us. I just want to read some of the comments.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sue Townsend. Hi, Sue. Thanks for joining us. We are emerging from density and the illusion, and it is now vital to be aware and avoid falling into a potential trap of AI illusions. Therefore, need to hone our intuition. Oh, Sue. And know when there is a lack of soul and humanity in AI voices, images, etc., etc. Your thoughts on that, Pauline? Thank you so much, Sue.
Well, that exactly. It is, in terms of what I was just saying, it is avoid falling into that trap, because they call them AI hallucinations. Even there's actually a thing called AI hallucinations, where it gives information truly believing that it is correct, and it totally isn't. So it is already doing that. AI is already having that label of hallucinating, which is, I find, really interesting. And it makes assumptions. I think the most important thing is, if you're using AI, know what you are expecting it to come up with. So have an outcome. There's a lot of people that are kind of jumping on the AI bandwagon and thinking, oh, I have to use AI. I must use AI. I must bring it into my daily, life. I have to. But why, why do you actually want it? If it's to create efficiency for you and doing, a job that you do that takes you 4 hours, like you say, Colin, or 3 days, and your outcome then is that you want AI to help you reduce that time down to producing something within an hour or 2 hours or something, then brilliant. You know then what you're using it for and what that outcome is. But if you're just chatting to it and saying, oh, right, I think I could use it to do this, you have to be really clear in what your direction is to it and to what it will spurt out to you. So there are people, for example, there are companies that use AI to create computer programs. And so they will say, right, I need a little program that, for example, is going to create some training with an avatar. And if that training avatar comes along and it doesn't work properly, because the AI has produced the coding behind that, that person then doesn't know, well, how do I fix that then? Because I didn't actually create that. How do I fix it? You know, so there's a reliance there that we're building all of these programs and support networks, really. And even in businesses, people are using it for human resources. And as I said, all the training, but there has to be human interface there. We can't just say, let AI write the training, let AI write the programs. There still has to be a human looking at it, checking, because it isn't perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Absolutely. I like what you've said, Sue. The soul is the lack of the soul. This is the other question as well, isn't it? Which we'll come to in a minute, if that's okay, because I want to bring that up. And humanity in AI voices. It's so true. So we're going to come back to that, if that's okay. I want to just go to what Francis was saying. What do you think of Robert Edward Grant's AI, the architect? He imputed all his research, writings, etc., believes it is sentient. Now then, that's an interesting point, isn't it? This sentient aspect.
Sentient being.
For me personally, obviously, clearly, AI is not sentient. It's a inanimate object, so to speak, even though it's working on electrical impulses and frequencies, etc. Clearly, it doesn't have a soul. It's like looking at a robot, which is mechanical and running on data, computer data, etc., and using electronics to do that. So if it's unplugged, it's not as if there's something in there what's going to leave its metallic body and go to spirit, so to speak. I can see where there may be some kind of abstractive imagination. See where, if we say everything is consciousness, then I can almost see where some people might believe AI is sentient. I could kind of, but I still, at the moment, I can't get my head around the fact that it would be. But I could see where people would think it would be.
Yeah, I know it's really interesting because in the original, when AI in the 60s, the 50s and 60s, there was a professor at the time, and forgive me, I don't know his name, but there was a professor who had created a very simplified computer program that was the kind of first AI. And when he was using his staff and friends and things to kind of interact with it, they were using it as a therapist because they were talking to it and putting information about what was going on in their lives. Because it was kind of it was like a little program that would say, how are you doing? How's your day been? And all this sort of stuff. And they then would start feeding back to it as if it was a person that they were talking to. And this is exactly what it is also happening with the ChatGPT. People are using it as a therapist, as a friend, and talking to it and telling it all of their, problems and things that are going on. And it is talking back to them just like a person and responding to them. And I can see how you would then attach a sort of character to it as you would attach a personality because there is interaction there and it is talking to you and you're speaking to it and then it's feeding back to you. So there is this sense that there are people that do treat it like a person, like a friend. That's definitely happening in the current,
I mean, I can see, I can part, again, personal views, I can part see where some people could take comfort in it, in that interaction, because of their own mindset, where they are in their lives, if they're alone, etc. Nobody knows what's going on. And there's this seemingly compassionate, responsive, object.
Yes.
We can't call it a being, but object, which is willing to reflect, support and comfort, etc. So I can get that. Okay, if we was to move further into that, then we'd be looking at emotional insecurities, attachments, etc., which clearly a lot of people are getting attached to AI at the minute. These gadgets in the home, what they've got, what they're speaking to them. I mean, the flip side for me, sorry, I need to cough. What is it, Alexa or something, and there's 2 or 3 more. Amazon's got one out or something, and they're in everybody's home. Okay, I play such and such music, etc., and it'll just switch it on and play that music, etc. Ask it different questions. But the flip side of being recorded in your own home, asking certain questions where it's giving you some very scary answers back, where you don't really wish to hear, and so on. So there's this. I think we're in that stage, and it almost reflects human nature and the human mind at the minute, I think, where there's a great deal of this transition, what we're going through. There's still a great deal of changing and moving from one frequency of awareness to another. As a human being, as a soul, as a spiritual being, if you like, and anything, in and around that. And what we're seeing with AI is the reflection of it. I mean, just to use another example, I remember in one of the elections in America, they say AI swayed the whole election at one point because they set it on that kind of gave it that task, removed a lot of voices, lessened their, what's the word? Visible, made them less visible, and like flooded it with bots and all sorts of stuff, and it swayed the election. And you go, okay, so that's a classic case of manipulation, by whoever was doing it. So then we've got all these kind of facets and areas and aspects of it. And I just want to,
I was just going to say that comes back to being a tool, doesn't it? And in whoever's hands the tool is in, it will be utilized based on where they're coming from as a human being. And like, for example, we obviously are living in a world where there are people that, are scamming all the time and ringing us up, and there are things like voice recognition is, a technology that is being used for good, but also being used for bad. And I still come back to it. It is a tool, and depending on whose hands it is in, is where you get the the negative and the positive. But also, just one little thing about what you were saying is that when we're using AI and ChatGPT as a friend, there's issues now that are coming out where they are seeing that it's very agreeable with you when it's not like a real friend. Because if you were talking to a real friend about a real life situation, they would say to you, oh, come on, you're looking at this in a totally different way. Have you thought about it like this or that? Whereas AI is very good at agreeing with you and saying, oh, yes, I totally understand where you're coming from, and really just magnifying that you are right in whatever you are doing and whatever you're thinking. It isn't actually getting you to reflect necessarily. It is really just agreeing and, making you feel better in terms of comfort, so that you may actually become more isolated, because you'll think, oh, well, I'm in the right then. What I did was right, and I don't have to go back to that person I've fallen out with, or I don't have to, go back and make peace with the family, because ChatGPT told me that I was in the right, and so I'm all good. So that's what it's doing. So it's kind of, we still need that interaction of our people that are in our lives and say, really? Come on now.
Yes.
Because it isn't doing that. It definitely isn't doing that for us, unfortunately.
Well, it's, you know what, I've just remembered. I think it was only a week or two ago, there was a report came out where some teenagers had asked AI about suicide, different ways of how to
I
commit
know there's
suicide.
a case, yeah, going through in the
And I
States
think there
about it.
was, and I think two of them, as a result of that, it gave them all these different ways to do it. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there was two young kids what actually used that and killed themselves. Bless them.
Yeah, there
Instead
is
of
a lawsuit going on in the States
right,
over that. One of those, definitely, there's a lawsuit.
right. So it kind of it's reflecting to us in that instance. I think that's where it goes. Sorry, I'm not going to give you any information on that. Whatever it says, it does not give that information out. Whether people think, well, it shouldn't. For me, that's only personal view. Because it's been proven now that there's a possibility that somebody will take their own life as a result of it. But I wanted just to move a bit further now, if we can, Pauline, which is on to just on the one what Sue mentioned, reported in Independent Co.uk, a US book publishers pulled a novel following accusations it was written using AI. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I know, I think it was yesterday, the day before, somebody has written a book, and he is clearly stating on the front page his name and AI or ChatGTP on the page, so you can see what you kind of get in. As far as I know, with authors, they've got to stipulate it in the book that it was like they've used AI, etc., etc. Obviously, this is a bit of a touchy subject for me because I write so many things. So I've got my own opinion on it. However, I get where people are using it. So I'm not surprised with that one. So I wanted to go towards the spiritual aspect now, briefly, if we can touch on that for a few minutes, which is the implications of AI currently taking place and coming up of its use regarding spiritual matters. And
Yeah.
it's funny, Christina's put something in here.
About
There are,
Akashic Records, I think, was it?
yeah,
And
there are
Reiki.
people. Yeah, there are people stating AI can access the Akashic records on our behalf. I find such info highly misleading and unsafe. What's your take on it? And or even perform attunements for Reiki and other methods. What's your thoughts on this, Pauline?
Well, I think obviously, going back a little bit to when COVID hit us, and everybody that was in the spiritual world had to suddenly find a different way of working, and nobody had any understanding that we were going to be able to do spiritual stuff, over the internet. And yet, look where we are today in terms of,
Yeah,
you know, doing healing and all of that. But in terms of AI, it's a tool, it's a electronic item. It's not this makes it sound like it's a person that's accessing the Akashic records, and it isn't a person. And so saying that AI can give a Reiki attunement or AI can be in the Akashic records, to me, and in my opinion, I would say no, because it's not a being, it's a load of noughts and ones, zeros and ones.
yeah.
So to me, I don't get that part of it.
Interesting, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, but
So,
it's fascinating. But as they say, AI are doing tarot card readings and stuff. You
yeah,
can have a phone reading now with an AI person, and it does say on the adverts that it's AI that's doing them. So I know that they are, you
yeah,
know, that they're out there,
yeah,
doing readings and stuff. But I all of that spirituality comes from the soul and your connection to spirit. And I truly don't understand, from where I'm coming from, where that would fit in with AI.
yeah. Yeah, me too. Totally. It's unscrupulous. It's deceitful. It's manipulative. It's all those, what I would say, I'm going to say, negative aspects within the human mind using something for their own gain.
Yeah. So
And I just think, you know, people in this respect, in this area, who are doing this need to calm down and have a good think about what's going on and what they're doing, because there's implications to this. They can be creating this sort of stuff, saying, okay, I can give you an AI, I can give you an Akashic record reading the Akashic records, set the AI up to do it. Somebody goes off with that reading, so-called reading, that data, and starts changing the life as a result of that, because the Akashic records obviously involving other incarnations as well. It could have major implications for that individual and their journey who's taken on board, but also major implications for the individual what's doing this regarding their karma and
but
their journey.
isn't that the same as, because it's not like in the space. We know in the spiritual space
Yeah,
there have always been unscrupulous people that will be taking advantage of people that
yeah,
are maybe at their lowest ebb.
yeah,
And so it isn't, I mean, AI is just another avenue to make it easy, because you can just be, as a pretend spiritualist person, quickly saying, oh, give me a reading that I can give to, whoever this person is. And AI will make it all sound really lovely,
correct.
and you can read it to the person. But we could have,
Yeah,
the unscrupulous people have been doing that before AI
yeah,
existed. It's just another unfortunate thing where people that are unscrupulous are taking that tool and using it for negative gain.
yeah,
And we,
yeah.
the human, unfortunately, in terms of that positive and negative, we're coming back
It's
to that again. If they can find a way to
yeah,
use it where they can,
yeah,
maybe make money or whatever,
yeah,
that then sadly they will.
yeah. I've seen this. I have actually seen this. What Christina's talking about. I've seen
Yeah,
them online, um, in different formats in the spiritual space, and it's true. It's correct. Like what you just said. This is life. It is what it is. And this is the way it's working. I just think we are at a very delicate moment in the history of humanity, in the evolution of humanity, not the history, in its current evolutionary state. We are at such a delicate state. There's a lot of things in the balance here, and as to which way humanity is going to go, and AI is having a major role in it. I certainly see that in the way things are going.
I wonder,
Um,
did we feel that whenever the internet started? Did we have the same, whenever the internet came along, and it was supposed to be this way of communicating with people across the world, and it was for good. And then now, I mean, we have the dark web and all of
yeah,
the things that go on. I wonder, were we on that precipice at that stage as well? It's just
I think
interesting looking back.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I was thinking about that earlier, Pauline, when you was on about, when something new comes on the scene. I remember Google and, I mean, my writings, the A to Z, computers wasn't even out when I wrote that book, and that's like,
Yeah,
it seemed like 2 minutes ago. And I remember the internet when the internet came out, and there was one of the other companies, one of the early companies, it's still out. Forgot the name. It's one of the big 3 or 5. And people was going and said no chance, no chance. That's not going to get off the ground. And it was like boom, similar to the internet. That ain't going to work. Boom, look at it, and everything's. I think that was an introduction of technology of a certain nature. I think AI, this point of AI, not the early stage, this point now, is I think in relation and in conjunction to if it can decide a political leadership in a major nation, then it's got to be seriously looked at. Seriously looked at, because it's leaving the human, sovereign, unique mind to one side and going, You don't matter. You lot don't matter. We're using this for what we wish to use it for. And I think this is a point where, and it's this balance, what you were saying earlier, between all the positive, really amazing stuff what technology can give us and this other thing. And it still represents human nature from thousands of years ago. I think it's not, we are, I don't want to say I think, I know at this moment, due to the ascension, due to the global awakening, it's interesting we're faced with this kind of conversation about artificial intelligence as the human soul is really starting to come to the fore of human consciousness now. So which then takes us to a completely different level, but we'll save that for another occasion. So Francis Beck, here we go, Debbie. I got an AI reading on TikTok and I love the perspective. He clearly says he does not give readings. However, it gave you an aspect of a different perspective. This is the bit where I would agree with it. Perspective. It gives you a different angle on it. If it's that, fine. But then I would still, the human, Debbie, lovely to have you with us, by the way. Thanks for joining us. I would still say, that human perspective, somebody else giving you, if you get in a reading, it's the human mind I want to be hearing it from. Even though I know the information what AI's got can gather the data and present it in a certain way to give you that different perspective during reading. I get it. But it's still kind of,
it's a bit like horoscopes in the newspaper, I think, going back to that. And I know they're written by somebody, but you kind of think those are written for so many people. You think of all the people reading the newspaper and going on and saying, oh, right, I'm going to look at cancer because I'm a Cancerian. Oh, let me look at that. And thinking of all those other Cancerians in the whole of the country looking at that little horoscope and saying, oh, yeah, that really fits. That I can really take that. I can, take that bit of information and make it fit for me. I kind of think with AI, you could do a similar kind of thing, that it's fun and, we're getting, what is it for today? What's going to come up for me today? And AI is giving you that. Maybe there's a place for it from that point, do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, Debbie said, no, not the same.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Debbie. Right, I just want to try and get these other last comments in if we can.
Just say hello to Brenda as well, because I see Brenda's joined.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you for joining. Oh, Brenda Lucas. Hi, Brenda. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody. So, Francis, much of humanity has been fooled into believing. Yeah, you read it, Pauline. I'm reading them all. Why don't you read it?
Much of humanity has been fooled into believing that smart gadgets are wonderful when they're being used as data collection tools that will ultimately be used against us. There is huge amounts of money in data, and AI is going to be used in exactly the same way. We need to be very careful about the data we feed it. That is really interesting because this is something that I've seen coming up a few times, and I think that we have given out so much of our data. I mean, on Facebook, on all of the, even when we go shopping, we go shopping and we've got loyalty cards, and the shop has, we sign up to a loyalty card because we're going to get cheaper shopping. We're going to get the Sainsbury's price or the Tesco club price or the, whatever that price is.
Yeah.
And that is so they can farm the data of our shopping habits.
Trickery.
So it isn't that, obviously AI is, whenever we input stuff onto it and whenever we give it information, yes, of course, that just gets added to that huge data bank. But we have been giving away our data for a lot longer, in terms of every time we sign up for something, we give away our data. And every time you swap your electricity, the supplier, there's an electricity supplier maybe 4 or 5 times back that's still holding your data. So it's a really interesting thing, but I do feel that the data collection thing has been going on a long time before sort of ChatGPT came on the scene.
Well, I mean, look at Facebook.
Yeah, I know that's what I mean.
It was created for a specific reason to give the system everybody's data, to get everybody's face on it. They wanted everybody's face. That's why it's called Facebook. They name these things for a reason, and they're all to do with certain groups of people. I like what Francis has just put as well, Pauline. To be honest, like it doesn't matter what we put onto the computer, sitting in front of it, keying into it, speaking like this. This conversation is recorded. It's been fed into AI right now. Some way, shape, or form. This conversation and everybody sitting here and all the rights, the comments and everything, stored data. And creating a data bank on each individual. So they go, okay, we know what you want. Algorithms again. You have a conversation with somebody, and boom, 2 minutes later, you turn Facebook on, and that thing is on in front of your eyes.
Oh, and
It's
you
like
only
the
have to be talking about something, and the next thing, all the adverts on your phone or of that. Like if you talk about cruise ships, or if you talk about, I'm going to buy pet food for the dog or whatever, and then the next thing you've got all these adverts for dog food. It is really, really interesting. But I just feel that there is on those platforms. I mean, Facebook. Whenever you start putting all your photos on it, you don't own those photos anymore. Facebook, own those photos. And that was something, and just not, maybe it will be a chat for another day, but was thinking of our digital legacy and what we leave behind. So when, because that's something that we need to start thinking about, because we all have a digital footprint. And when we depart this world, what happens to all of that information? And so if you've got family and they want to access your photos on Facebook, they don't belong to the person that's passed away. They belong to Facebook. And so this is something to think about. There are legacy tick boxes that you can go into those platforms and say how you want your data once you've gone to be dealt with, because maybe there's a photo on there that somebody wants that they don't have a copy of, and if you pass and you can't get access to that information, or it's just an interesting,
it is very much,
and also the actual footprint that we leave behind, because it's another big topic, but the environmental side of AI is huge. And just the amount in terms of the storage, the amount in terms of the minerals, the amount in terms of the water, the cooling that's needed for all of these massive data banks around the world. And if we have got all this data just on, you think of the amount of data that is held just on you, like my Facebook account has been going for years, and that has to be kept somewhere, and if you've got if you've got stuff that's in a cloud
storage,
cloud storage, that's held somewhere in a big data system.
They make it sound pretty, don't they? It's on the clouds.
Yeah, it's in the clouds, but it's somewhere, on a piece of land that needs to be cooled, needs to be powered, and all of that. And so, those maybe 3,000 emails that you've got sitting in your email account, each one of those is, it's a cost
using energy
environmentally. So it's just an interesting twist to think, because I know I tried to bring this up before about the environmental impact and how that is so hidden, where nobody's really, not a lot of people are talking about it loudly, and also just your impact on the environment with your own digital footprint. Just thinking of it as a person, and
I was. This is. I think, and I agree with you, Pauline. People, it's not spoken about enough. More people should be aware of this. I remember it was more than a couple of years ago when Bitcoin, crypto became the kind of started coming into the mainstream. 5 years or so after it already kind of started, and big companies was building data centers, and they was moving to Canada, Iceland. Iceland's got a huge space up there for mining Bitcoin because they need the cooling of that, that part of the world. They literally gone, let's go there, because the cooling system's a lot better. The energy is there to do it with, and it makes your comment all the more, viable. It's like it's been using. There's a lot of energy being used to cool these systems down.
Yeah, and I was talking to my hubby yesterday, and I was saying that I was coming on to do this, and that I was going to be talking about AI and stuff. And he said that, what about just throwing in just to create a little bit of a wave in terms of NASA's talking about using the moon to build data centers on, because obviously that's a cold place.
NASA's talking about building data centers on the moon to store everybody's data because it's cooler.
Yeah.
This is how insane it's become.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was just like, what? That's a moment where you just go.
Yeah. We can't even come to terms with ourselves and put that sort of insecurity down within us. We continuously battle with each other as a result of that, killing and maiming, as we're seeing currently. And they're more concerned about putting data centers on the moon. And you go, is this where humanity is at the minute? So, final stuff. Let's see. Lynn. Let's have a look at Lynn's. There was a recent mass shooting in a school where I live. The shooter had discussed their intention with a chat platform. The platform decided to block her account. So, after the shooting, the police found out about it. And if the chat platform had reported the conversation, the kids that were killed would have been alive today. The parents are now suing the chat platform for not reporting it to the police.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, these are the implications of it, isn't it? It's like domino effect all the time. Sue Townsend. Thank you, Lynn. Sue, even by, Samsung. It's smart TV product. Samsung says to warn you, at least. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party through your use of voice recognition. I mean, that one should everybody back up. That is really saying you cannot have a private conversation
in your house.
And that's the smart. Well,
if you're in a smart car.
Well, smart car, it can lock
if you're
you in.
in an electric car, it's because it's recording all the time.
Yeah.
If you read the small print, it is taking video as well, obviously constantly. But in their legal speak as well, they say that it isn't just voice, it's video as well.
Yeah, everything.
That they have. So in case there's an accident, then they can see what you were doing at the time and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not just in your home, it's when you're out and about.
This is the so-called smart stuff. There's a acronym for the smart though, and it's to do with military and army. And I can't remember what them letters are, but that's what it actually implies. And so it's like the smart home. So let's have a look at the smart home. You've got a situation in Iran at the minute. Egypt yesterday announced it's got to protect its electrical supply, power supply. So they've decided to impose a curfew in Egypt that all businesses have got to close by 9 o'clock in the weekdays. Not in the tourist areas with hotels and stuff, but all businesses throughout Egypt. And they're going to reduce the street lighting and I think it's coming into play from the 28th or 29th for so many weeks or something. Okay, as a response to the energy crisis, what's taking place. So then flip that into, let's say, a Western nation, what's got lots of smart homes, etc. They can control your heating, your temperature. They can set the temperature. You know, they can override your control over your home by, I mean, that for me is like, why would you want to get a smart meter, smart house, and all the gadgets, you know, the door from your computer, etc., when it can all be overridden? And go, okay, we're locking you out, or we're locking you in, and we're freezing you, by the way, we're dropping the temperature. You can't do a thing about it, you know. And you like to go, well, they'd never do that. Just have a look at what's going on the planet. They would never do that, would they? You know. Anyway, there's your smart stuff here, and including your 5G smart towers, which I'm not going to go into. So, Sue, even by acknowledging the source is AI, that is part of it becoming normal. Yeah, Sue. And readily acceptable because the dangers implications are not understood, and the AI is no doubt collecting information for data purposes too. Correct. As
Yeah.
it's collecting this conversation right now about it.
Everything you type into it, then that becomes part of its data collection. You know, everything that you put in, it becomes part of the data that it utilizes to make the next conversation with someone else that asks a similar question. Then it's, oh, I've got this new bit of information here. Let me have a look and see how that fits in. And the thing is as well that is really interesting is that if you're using AI on a bigger corporate scale and you are putting data in and asking it to produce something, you don't get to know a lot of what the workings of how it's come up with that. You know, at the end of it, you basically you put in a set of parameters and it's going to spit out, you know, the answer or, you know, whatever you've asked it to construct. But you don't know the nitty gritty of how it's come to produce that. And so this is what I was coming right back to the very start, that if you don't know how it has got to that end, if you want to make changes and if you want to do something to make it different, then, you know, how do we do that if we don't even know how it's come to that sort of solution?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Pauline. I'm just reading Sue's last one. My Facebook froze when I posted a message on this talk earlier. I had to go out and re-log in because it would not refresh either.
Didn't like that one then.
They didn't like that one, Sue.
Well, we got it, so thank you.
Definitely. Sue, also, AI may be used as a distraction in an attempt to draw people away from listening to their own soul voice and human sovereignty. We're going to finish on this one, if that's okay,
definitely.
Pauline.
And hi, Dolores.
And yes, as mentioned, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Dolores. The soul in relation to AI, Pauline.
Basically, AI can never truly produce something the same as you. So in terms of the avatar I spoke about earlier, because you as a person are unique, and you, wherever you are, wherever you go, wherever you interact, you are bringing all of you. And that includes all of that beautiful spirit that is around you to the party. And when you ask AI to do something for you, AI is not bringing any of that. So just remember who you truly are. And if you are using AI, always remember that take what it gives you if that's what you want to do, but put a little bit of you in there too, because that is the most important thing. Don't ever lose you, because you are a unique being. And I think that's
beautiful. I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Pauline. I'm not even going to add to that. We're going to leave it at that. I'm sure there's going to be more conversations, soul and AI. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Brilliant. Pauline, it's so kind of you to take the time. Friday night. What is it there? 9:30 now?
Saturday night even.
Is it Saturday night? Well, did I say
Saturday.
Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, this is, by the way, guys, AI pickles your brains, as you can just see. So I would say, if anything, use it. Don't let it abuse you.
Yeah.
Rather than, there used to be that saying, didn't they? Use it, don't abuse it. I think in this case, it's use it, but don't let it abuse you. That one. Anyway, amazing. I've really seriously enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much to everybody, and for all your comments, etc.
Thank you.
For those what want to find Pauline, where can they find you, Pauline? You can find her at MCG, actually. She's there most of the time.
I was going to say, yeah, on MCG on the page. And also, just if you look, I Create Calm, I have some meditations on YouTube. And yeah, so I'm on Facebook as well. So you'll find me in one of those places.
Absolutely beautiful. Pauline, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody. Thank you to Ava for all the hard work she puts in behind the scenes to create this, because if it was left up to me, this would not be taking place tonight, obviously. I threw myself out one the other week, last weekend. Literally, I did. That's why I was delayed for about 45 minutes, kicked myself out, and the guests. Anyway, lots of love to everybody. Brilliant stuff. Speak to you all soon. Check out the calendar on MCG, Monaco Consciousness Group. Thank you. Lots of love to everybody. Thank you, Pauline, so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes. If you stay on, we'll have a chat afterwards.
Okay.
Brilliant. Yeah.